Super excited, special edition, going live here to talk about a brand new beta, uh, the HubSpot Object Library. And if we can just like take in those two words, Object Library, everything you want it to mean. It looks like it means right now. Join special guest Harker from the product manager team. How you doing?
Hey, doing great. Excited to see how it feels about this.
Yeah, a lot of buzz already. Uh, and I'm gonna start sharing my screen so we can just dive in. Uh, I've only activated this a couple times, so this is truly an unboxing outside of the great video that you did. Um, so just to show people where it's at, we have recent beta from yesterday. Expand your data model, new objects and data templates. So we see that I'm in. And I will go to my settings area and we see object library here. So I'm going to click on that. Welcome to your object library. Review, enable, or disable objects to best reflect your business across different HubSpot tools. So this concept in general, just making it easier to kind of manage all of the objects in context with each other like this is pretty exciting. I know a lot of work has been done on the data model view and, definitely getting us out of the, okay, I've got an object and then I've got to go through this list and I'm clicking all around and which object am I in again? So looking forward to that. But then obviously the brand new part here is we have pre-made native objects that don't require any hub license. I just activated this a few minutes ago in a free portal and I saw the same thing. So that's really exciting to see. And personally, I love this approach versus just making custom objects available to everybody, which is what a lot of people want. But in my experience, we're not to be trusted with just customizability everywhere. So I love these kinds of guardrails. So we have HubSpot tools, including index tables, record pages, custom reports, workflows, and more. If I can ask a tough question right off the bat,
I will I will
uh,
try.
the objects that exist and are not seen here, like all of the Commerce Hub
Mhm,
objects, for
mhm.
example, is it a part of the feature scope to include all of the object-like things?
I believe that that is currently like under consideration. Yeah. So a lot of what we're looking for here and why this video is helpful is we want to gather as much feedback as we can about the release. Are there things that we need to change about the UI? And then once we've gotten that feedback, now that we've landed, we can expand. So I think you will
Cool.
see more investment on this page that will make you happy.
Awesome. So I'm always looking to relate new stuff to the way things have been. And I notice over here that even though I have not enabled these things, they are already services, courses, listings, appointments showing up over here. So my explorer mindset makes me just want to click on one of these to see what's showing up over there. So we have activate object and object library, brings us back to this, which I think is great. And now so it helps me understand that this is how pre-built it is, which is cool. So I'm just going to take a look here, try and read the screen like I tell everybody else to before I just click on stuff. So activated objects are used in all tools listed. this should help clarify the question right out of the gate. As far as like when we see new objects, like if this weren't here, right, and we just saw these objects show up, like we've been seeing in some other cases, we still don't have orders and carts on here, for example. So you have these objects that are like half objects, like what are they connected to? This helps address that question right up front. So this looks to be as native gets. Like as soon as we activate it, we have access. It's already built into all of these things. Pro tip: use data templates to set up industry-specific configurations with ease. Can use data templates to set up objects for specific industries. They include objects, properties, associations, and pipelines. I want to click on that.
I believe for this release, templates are Pro Plus.
Yep.
That's something. Okay. So if you're in a free portal, you may be able to review, but I'm not sure you'll be able to apply.
Right. So currently I'm in a dev portal. So it looks like this is okay.
Great.
And healthcare, we know we need enterprise so that we can manage the sensitive data. And this is why the pre-built objects are better than the custom objects. Like there's nothing stopping like a HubSpot user from creating an appointments object, a custom object, not activating any of the data security stuff, and then just putting themselves in a really bad situation very easily. So to help avoid that, I love these cases of guardrails where it's like, one, it gives the guardrails. It also standardizes the way that people can think about these things, which I think is going to be a huge benefit over time. The Let's Build series is all about education. So we're going to click on that one and see. So a set of data model recommendations relevant to organizations that work directly with students within the pre-K-12 and higher education spaces. This is where it's super interesting and why we can't depend on HubSpot to do all of the things for us in terms of industry specific, application specific. Sort of partners and community are going to come into play, because like you guys got to start with something when you like put these words in, right? But obviously courses hits B2B like big time. Like if you have any kind of online academy or like any kind of courses that people pay for, certainly don't have to be like the online learning space is pretty big. So that's where maybe you don't want to use this template. You just want to start working with courses yourself, and it still comes in. It still finds a way. Yep.
Is if you click into that template and review it, I wonder if its contents, like, is this a copy question, right? Of like, if that copy was different, but the template still meets your needs. So like, if you dig down into the template, if you're thinking about that B2B use case, I would love feedback on like what's relevant here, especially since you can choose these items a la carte.
Right. And that's why I think it's a balance to be had with what this copy says, because it's easy for users to say, okay, that's not me. I'm going to go do it myself, and I'm not even going to click into this screen.
Cool.
Right. And if it's, this is where if like this was the copy, like relevant to organizations that have structured programs or series, like that's a general way to say this is what the object is going to do. But you are trying to create application specific things here. So since it says education and that's the industry that we think of, that this makes sense. because if we look at it, this is where, so I'm just going to go through it. So we got activate already checked. Got details in the object library. I'm just gonna, it's already opening in a separate tab. All right, so we continue to be brought back to get comfortable with this object library space, please, is what we're trying to do here. These two spaces, data model management and object library, I'm loving the direction. People get in a lot of trouble trying to manage all this stuff in the individual like vacuum contexts without understanding what's connected to what. So it's definitely a balance to play, like not overwhelming everybody with everything all the time, but I like erring on the side of more context than less. So we've got custom properties, 3 come with it. Department term section number. If we look at property options, I love this. I love the option to include or not include. That's good. And then these association labels. This is going to be super powerful because people have no idea what to do with association labels right now. And any kind of standardization that HubSpot can support. Talk to Jeff about this a lot. Like there is room, right? There is room for like giving guidance, especially when it's like this, like giving the guardrail, but like if you know what you're doing, go ahead and uncheck the box, like put the labels in that you want, right? So we've got that option. And this is also a great intro to like, hey, if you really want a different object, like please consider all of these things. Like,
hey, if you want to build it from scratch, you can.
Yeah. But it's amazing how many people build them just as like data containers and no associations. Like they just go right to the reporting. Now I can see this stuff easier. We're missing out on so much when we do that. So contacts, any person. All right, so the HubSpot user's business. So we're adding these to the contact. So, okay. So this is, we're hitting each object here. All right. All right, maybe there's a little more direction there in terms of you're about to make changes to this object. This is why you're doing this now.
Okay, so you're looking for something that's like your contact object already exists. These custom properties will be added, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because this one is the new thing, and expecting like, okay, all this stuff is coming in with it. And I've got the activate button up here. Then it's like
a little bit different.
Yeah, maybe like add all. I mean, still include all, but like making sure it's clear, like you're about to add these properties to your contact record. Because you might have some of these already. And since we're thinking of like in this new context, maybe we're not thinking about what already exists. Again, this makes it super easy. And I know that like we're always trying to find the balance between brand new HubSpot users and veteran. So I think helping understand options. So like, especially if we're targeting new with this and trying to make it easy to, you know, come in and if this is my first
interaction,
my first interaction with drop down select specifically, like a note here saying like you can make these your own or you can add you can easily
A
add.
little more context here.
Yeah, you can easily add
Okay.
to these options if you want. Yep. And again, man, this is a ton of work that you're saving. That you're saving for people, especially like.
How much do you think, like in terms of time? I'm curious.
Honestly, in terms of like build time, it's like it's minutes at the end of the day based on like how many associations you have. But the
Mhm.
thought and strategy time, like to have to map this out, to have to fully understand like one versus many, and how do I need it to work? Like this is where I know there's just a ton of portals out there. The reason I love this is we have so many people solutioning with HubSpot right now, all in silos against the exact same problems. So being able to say like, okay, we see most people solving it like this. Maybe there's going to be, outliers out there. But if we help people,
Sure.
like you just
Always.
lower the hurdle to getting started with, yeah, like you shouldn't be doing this in contacts, or you can get into association labels, and here's why it's important. Being able to show stuff like this is awesome, because it does require, especially when you look at the data model view, it's easy to get overwhelmed when you start thinking about association labels. It's also easy to do it in a really not great way. So that's why there's fear and hesitation to like getting started with it. So even just the littlest step forward will be super helpful. Because I think that's the problem with custom objects, is that you really need to do a lot of soul searching beforehand to understand like, oh, I should be using pipelines, and these are what the pipeline should look like. It's a brand new object. How is it going to associate to everything? Do I need it associated to everything else? Which properties go where and when? Love that. So here we're on contacts. So ultimately we're adding in a new course object, and we're making updates to the contacts object in terms of adding properties to it and giving it associations out of the gate. And I see a separation here. So, we're adding a contact to contact association here. That is gorgeous. I did not catch that. This will also help with, please don't make a custom object for another human being when we have objects that already relate to human beings. Again, people definitely have trouble with the like to like association situation. So this is super helpful.
It's so tough to explain and understand.
Yeah. And this is where like, even now, like, okay, maybe student teacher is not going to apply to everybody, but the more examples we have that we can look to help people understand it, it's going to go a long way. So I'm going to click next. Confirm the following changes. 15 changes will be applied to contacts. I think there's a learning curve between associations and association labels that I think people struggle with. I don't think you can do anything about it here.
Yeah.
It just caught my attention. Like, oh, I thought we were doing something new with associations, but we're not. It's actually labels.
Yep.
And so, but why aren't we saying, I guess, is there an assumed association, like why isn't this say like 1 in terms of now courses will be associated to contacts? That's what
I'll check with
it
design
would,
engineering.
right? That's what we're trying to communicate here, right?
Mm-hmm.
If this did have numbers, like it could say, okay, now instead of just contacts, in the future we might be able to add other associations in this screen, and then if we did, then
Mm-hmm.
the number would be non-zero. Okay.
Yeah. I'll
And
make
then,
a note of that.
all right, so I'm going to confirm. And I saw some pipelines in your video, so I'm going to find which one that was. And I'm just going to click done here. You've applied the template education successfully. All right, and now we see it in our data model too. And we don't see the others yet, which is good. But I'm going to find some others. Define data model with templates. So did listings have the pipeline? Or were you
I
showed
believe that
some
it did.
pipelines.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain.
All right.
Yeah.
So for our business that does real estate and also serves K-12, we're going to click next.
Really a one-stop shop.
Yeah. Hey, it's all about that platform offering.
Yeah.
So we've got listings, and we've got an association label. So in this case, we're just bringing the object into play and one association label. We're not bringing in any properties. That's how I understand this.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
Yep. And am I correct in assuming that the normal 10 or 11 automatic, the same ones that came with custom object, like last modified date and object create date?
Oh, yes. The system standards will be there. Yes.
Right. So why wouldn't we, especially if it's, why wouldn't we?
In the object library for me?
Yep.
And then go to, here we go. Okay. So these properties are coming in and they are part and parcel with the object. Okay. And so what you're saying was would you expect to see a summary of all of the properties that are packaged with the object in the template summary?
Yes. So I saw, I guess, like, why did I see, because there were 3 properties here for the course, right? And then contacts gave me a bunch of properties.
Yeah, let me make a note. Mm-hmm.
So if we do,
my team is going to watch this once it's posted. So
yeah. So I would expect to see like this listing type, drop down, select, and the same kind of experience. And then we have contacts and roles. I like that. So is this, we have a very similar property that already exists. I feel like maybe that's on the deal, but there's definitely some buyer roles as target accounts have come online. And I can just let me just check that real quick. Right. So buying role, and there's situations like this. That there's a lot of, this one isn't necessarily a workaround, but it's like we've been doing things a certain way for a long time in HubSpot. Now this new thing exists. As we bring it in, it creates redundancy like immediately. we probably need to be
Mhm.
okay with that in a lot of cases. But that's where I think, as I've interacted with a lot of different product groups, it would be nice if HubSpot is the one delivering the update, that it didn't automatically create a duplicate property like immediately, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Especially if I'm in real estate, uh, and I've been using that property. Like, I don't know how you'd pull this off, but it would be like, yeah, like adding to whatever the list already is for that property.
Mm. Mhm.
Um, or maybe a suggestion. I think there's lots. What I like here is there's a lot. It creates the space for more suggestions, uh,
Yes.
where it's like, okay, you already have these properties, like they might make sense here, um,
Mhm.
or you could use these new ones. Uh, and then we have the labels and deals. I love. There's so much opportunity here. Like, uh, staging and helping people understand staging gate processes.
Mhm.
Like, that's definitely, with custom objects, I think is the most underused piece of custom objects is the pipelines.
Agreed.
Um, it makes the rest of HubSpot go. Uh, and it, for me, it's, I've been able to create like, I treat it like it's a sub object. Like each pipeline within a custom object can be a sub object of the parent object.
Mhm.
The way that you can differentiate based on pipeline. So this is, I love this precedent that's being set here. Um, uh, so we have include, and this would be cool. Like maybe we don't deal with renters, so I'm just gonna uncheck that box.
Mhm.
And then we have tickets. Yeah, like this is one step closer to completing a standard, like all considered customer data model. Um,
Yeah.
and I think this is where, man, it's just so powerful. I'm just gonna click next. Got so many things. This is one of the reasons I'm not so worried about all of the niche um, CRMs, and usually that's why people like other CRM options, is like it's built for their industry. So it's pre-built with things like this, but then they're not really great at communication management like HubSpot is. So you still lose a lot.
Yep.
Uh, so being able to help them cross that bridge. And I'm just going to click and we can actually look at some in tool stuff. And we can see that listings have been added. We got deals. And if we just zoom in here, view details. Um, deals. I said deals to listings, or did we add any? I'm not sure. I should be paying attention more. Uh, I really wanted to see just the pipelines that we created out of the gate. So we'll just go to deals, and we've got the buyer pipeline and the seller pipeline. And probably an even better view, go over to settings. We can check pipelines. Got all these like super, super relevant stages. And this is, yeah, no, this is so good. Because this is the kind of stuff that, like, will save a few minutes for sure, but also standardizing around what these things are named will be huge for the growing support needs and like the way that partners and integrators and like can just go from portal to portal and stuff is going to be named the same. This sets the stage for building in some of these things, in a more pre-built kind of way. And this is what I'm envisioning. Is I remember there was some point earlier this year where I opened up a free portal and it was like, what are you trying to do with HubSpot? And I could choose from like event management and it was like marketing, sales, or service basically. And it gave me like a few properties, right? Just from that selection. This is like a big jump to the next level.
Yeah.
And we get to the point where my mind goes, it's like there's an AI flow at the beginning of that. And it's like, just tell me everything about your business. And it's like, all right, these are the sets of objects. And it brings us to, these wizard screens where it's like, okay, this sounds like you're in real estate. This is what we recommend. Maybe even like, I think as I think about how the community and partner ecosystem helps, it's like partners that are willing to do quick demos, and like this is the next level of the academy for me. Like if we can show more real life scenarios about stuff to add context, that will really help people learn HubSpot a lot faster with less chance for confusion as everything gets a lot more complex. So this is awesome. Like this is
I'm really excited. I'm so
excited.
curious to see how people feel about it.
Yeah, it's already one of my best performing posts in a while. It was 9 p.m. last night. I was just like, oh my God, what is this? And then I just had to post about it immediately. So,
well, and my
thanks
team
so
will
much.
be really happy. Yeah, absolutely. It was wonderful to be here with you. I'm so excited to show the stream to the whole team. And yeah, we're collecting feedback actively about these experiences. So feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, job well done. And as everybody looks and thinks about the custom objects they were wishing they had, definitely check out this library. And I'm sure don't fear if you don't see the exact object. That's a great reason to reach out to Harker and say what you want to see. So think about your own process. Think about what other objects you've been thinking about. Find the opportunity and let's grow. Have a great day, everybody.
Yeah.